You're listening to the podcast for grain merchandisers by grain merchandisers. Join us in our good-humored attempt to serve as a voice of reason in an industry fraught with misconceptions and half-truths. And now, from deep in America's heartland, this is The Elevator's Cut.
Welcome back to another episode of The Elevator's Cut. I'm one of your hosts, Jason Wheeler.
I'm your other host, Roger Gaddis. Like you said, another episode. It's hard to believe.
We're doing it again.
The years go by.
We apologize in advance.
Heavens knows we do.
Roger was doing his homework before this episode, counting up all the episodes. You listened to all of them, is that right?
No, heavens no.
And so we've been doing this 7 years now?
I think we released the first ones at the end of 19. The very front end of 20. It was pre-COVID times.
Yeah. Yeah, oh yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, whenever that was. Anyway, it's been a long time.
We just want you to know we've been doing this since before podcasts were that big a deal. And now they're a big deal, but still no one listens to this. Some people listen.
I think it's the meme of the bell curve from sage to idiot.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone full around. I don't know which one we started at, which we ended at, but we're on the tail end somewhere.
Okay.
On the podcast curve. So this probably means this should be our last episode ever.
You heard it here first. No, I think we're contracted through the end of the year.
You say words. I don't know what they mean.
Listen,
what you think they mean.
I mean, they probably don't. But no, so I remember, come back with me into history, 2008-ish time. We had our big conference. So 2008, global financial crisis, what they called it. I don't know.
That was the name of the conference you went to?
It just seemed like normal. No. It was during that time. And everybody always talks about 2008 because why do they talk about 2008 in the grain world, Roger?
Because bad things happened?
But also good things. Prices got real high, right?
If you had something to sell, it was great.
Yeah. The problem is prices kept going higher, and then everybody hated themselves.
That was the year I remember. Before. I think that was the year that I think you were the author of this term.
Oh boy,
surviving prosperity.
I was not the author of that, but. Anyways, it was a good time. The reason I bring it up is because what happened that year, so many things. Prices got really high, and hedge funds, we had never talked about, as a grain world anyways, hedge funds. We talked about hedging. We don't talk about hedge funds that often, or we hadn't until then. Do you remember this coming up?
Vaguely.
And the hedge funds were... It was, hey, we can't invest in anything. Everything's collapsing. We got to invest in real stuff like corn and beans. And the hedge funds were buying corn.
The birth
futures.
of Gavilon, right? That's when all that came about. Osprey, isn't that the fund that started Gavilon back then?
Isn't? I don't know. You know more about this stuff than I. That's why I asked you.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, what happens when the hedge funds get into the physical market, and that's what happened.
Yes. So it was great, and everybody all of a sudden starts paying attention to corn and soybeans because it's a hedge for inflation, don't you understand?
I don't.
And so if we buy this is real stuff. This is food, for goodness sakes. Fuel.
Cow chow, if you will.
Yeah. I mean, ethanol that you put in your gas tank. Whatever you want. Car food, animal food, whatever we need. So it became a big deal. Everybody's talking about this, and we had our conference, and we always give out T-shirts at our conference, and the ones that year, 3 words right across the front. Do you remember these 3 words?
What's important now?
So close. No. It was ag is in.
Oh yeah,
yeah. You remember those?
If you'd have said 3 2-letter words, I've still got that shirt. It's my lawn mowing shirt now.
So ag is in. Everybody was like, ag's where it's at. Prices got real high. Everybody's talking about ethanol, and, everybody's just making fortunes of money in the ag world, except for farmers, because farmers have never made money before.
Not on taxes.
That I found. But no, everybody's doing well. Ag is in, and people were excited. And I guess the point of that was it's a good thing when people want what you've got. And in the grain world, if people want grain, that's a good thing. And prices get high, and we were growing plenty of grain, and they even had carries in the market when the price was rallying, which is a pretty unique thing, in my opinion.
It's also a just plain unique thing.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm comparing this to now, right? Because you always got to...
I assume this is where you're going.
Here we go. It was a long preamble, but we're going to bring this one home. Now we have the oil market. Everybody's... And we have these periods from time to time where everybody's paying attention to what's oil doing. And we got the Strait of Hormuz, and we got bombings in the Middle East, and everyone is now watching the oil markets.
I'm not convinced people are pronouncing that correctly.
Okay.
I don't have your proof, but who's to say it's not Hormuz or the Z silence, Hormu?
I don't know. I've never been there.
Hormu? Maybe it's French. I don't know.
The French need it, I understand.
Apparently everybody does except the good old US of A.
Anywho. So
commodities. We're talking commodities, right?
It's the commodity world. So oil futures are a big thing people are watching now that they don't normally watch, but because there's something going on, everybody's watching them. And gas prices at the pump are too high, and diesel's too high, and all this. And then people start formulating opinions about the oil market, this commodity market, and they say things like, the market is not reflecting reality right now.
And I remembered seeing this was a tweet, right? And it was the specifics was the unsaid portion was, hey, the actual price that, oil companies or refiners are paying for this stuff is not the same as the futures price. Right? I mean, that was the thrust of it. There's this price way up here, but the futures are right here, so it doesn't reflect reality.
So
and it's almost like,
work.
there's like this magical thing between cash price and futures price that exists for commodities.
Amazing.
What would that be called? If you were going to invent such a thing, what would you call it?
Call it like a basis for something, a basis for a cash market.
Word for that. I think that fits perfectly.
So anyways, because the cash price and the futures price aren't exactly the same at all times, it's out of whack.
It's a disconnect. It's not real. It's not reality.
It's fake. It's fake like the news. It's not a real market.
Which is why people have asked the government to get involved.
Which always helps.
In the futures market for oil.
Yeah, and there was even, you never know, like you see stories or headlines of like the government's thinking about, getting an oil futures account. I'm like, I'm a broker. I get you a heck of a deal on that if you want to trade some. Yeah, it's always that's good. So if a market is wrong and out of whack, the best thing to make it really reflect reality is to have a government manipulate it back into goodness, right?
Yeah, it's called price controls. Mm-hmm. This is in the history of the earth, this has always worked. If you go back and study your history, price controls has always worked for those trading on black markets. It's been great for them.
Yeah, people that are really into fasting. It's great. I don't even need this food.
Skinny Santa.
It's worked out better this way. I didn't even want this food. Now I'm not even tempted.
I don't even need a shot now. I just can't eat.
So anyways, so the futures market is back in vogue. I wouldn't say ag is in necessarily. Ag's always in my book.
Crude is in.
But
you say that?
Commodities are in. Futures are in. And the great thing about it is all the stuff we've said, but also people that don't understand what basis is. The people who, and this is something I don't get. This happens in the grain world too. People say like, such and such at J.P. Morgan says the crude's going to be $200 by this fall. What? Why would? If you knew that, why would you tell anybody? That's crazy.
I'm going to tell you something you probably don't know.
Thank you.
But in the grain world, there are people that will go out and say, this year ends in the number 9, beans will go to $30.
Exactly.
It happens. Just be on the lookout for it. Those things happen in this business.
So are those people saying the market is wrong now? and it should already be $200, or I know it's going to be $200. I don't. Anyways, it drives me crazy. The market is what it is right now, and it's a futures market. So there are you can lock in.
You said something earlier though that was a attack. Is it the wrong word? But I'm going to use it. Attack against the people talking about the oil market now. You said they have an opinion on it. But I just want to point out, a functioning futures market is a bunch of people with opinions on the market, but they're taking action on those opinions through their purchasing and selling.
Right.
But it is opinions. So we're talking about opinions that are not followed up by action, right? That's the main difference here.
Yeah, and just to say like the market is wrong, I just take personal offense to that at any given time.
Well,
unless a government is involved manipulating it, I guess maybe.
It's like the sentence is unfinished with the person saying that the market is wrong compared to my expectation or hopes or whatever.
Right, exactly.
My opinion. It's wrong compared to my opinion. That's what I think. That's not a complete statement. There's more to it. Well, why? Why is that? Well, because my thing says this. My AI says this.
I have to buy gas. It should be under $2.
I think it should be free. I mean, why stop there? It's like, minimum wage. Why stop?
Why are we trying to hamper the economy? We need energy. Give it to us for free.
You should invent nuclear fusion then. I hear that'll solve everything.
Listen, we have forms of technology that we don't even know about, but I don't want to get into it on this podcast, but I've looked into it a little bit. And Age of Disclosure is a movie out there. You guys should check it out. But anyways.
Is this something they have to watch on YouTube?
You rent it on Prime, and it's $10 just to rent it. That's how you know it's good.
And what's it called again?
Age of Disclosure.
Yeah. So by the time you get done watching the movie, the disclosure says, "Thanks for sending us your $10."
Yeah. Thanks for disclosing this nice
to your friends.
Nice Hamilton to us. Okay. Another thing that comes about with everyone's newfound interest in the futures market, oil in this case, is the realization that because further out futures months are lower prices than right now,
it's a temporary hiccup.
It means that obviously the market's wrong. We've already established that.
Right.
The market is, what's it doing?
This one futures is up here. All the other ones are down here. It's going to revert to the mean.
So the market's
getting at?
already saying that prices are going down because the further out the deferred months are lower prices. We have what some would call an inverse or a backwardation into the future. It's like Michael J. Fox.
I'm looking
backwardation to the future.
I'm seeing some AI slop here with that.
Yeah.
With Doc Brown, backwardation into the future.
Yeah, we'll have Randy put that on the screen or something. We'll have a DeLorean up there. This is, of course, we know from the grain markets, when we have this inversion, that does not mean that prices are going down. That means we're short. We have a supply crunch right now, and the market is just screaming for all the
The market's penalizing holders of said commodity, owners of said commodity, for holding it into the future. That's essentially what it is. It's incentivizing by a high price now to get rid of the stuff, and then it's also disincentivizing by carrying it past now.
Right, you're sitting with that tanker, not going through the Strait of Hormuz.
It's giving you two market signals: high price to get rid of it, and also punishment, but for not getting rid of it. That is carrot stick, both right there.
For whatever reason, depending on which team you're rooting for on political things, that the team that says this is only a temporary problem is saying, look, obviously, look at the deferred futures. They're, sure, it's $100 a barrel now, but it's like $80 a barrel in a couple months.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. The market already knows this is in their opinion, the market's right out there. It's wrong right here. It's right out there.
Where all the liquidity is wrong.
Closer,
out there where there's not much liquidity. That's the right part.
It's closer to right out there. And the market is telling you that prices are going down. Tell me where I'm wrong.
Contango.
So anyways, this is a fun thing I notice as people.
Yeah, watching from another commodities side of the world to see, the spotlight go from, what was it on gold last few years, and now it's on oil, and cocoa and, coffee have had their day in the sun. People still don't understand how the functionality works. But here we are with oil.
Yeah, so it's silly because if there was a carry in the market and the prices were higher out there, those same people would be
It's wrong now.
Well, they would be saying they would come to our side of the thing and say, well, carries happen when there's plenty of supply, so we obviously have plenty of supply and blah blah blah. Prices will come down. That's usually bearish prices when you get big carries in the market and blah 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 blah. That go into all this. It's just whatever. The point is the average person, the general public, has no idea and just wants to listen to their team, tell them something that sounds good. You want to believe the stuff that you want to believe, so you just do it.
What movie was that from? Is that from The Never-Ending Story?
So if I want to believe prices are going to get better, if I'm a farmer, I want to believe prices are going to get better, I'm going to buy the newsletter that tells me prices are getting better, and I'm going to ignore the ones that say it's not going to get better. Same thing with oil prices. If it's better for my political team that prices get higher, then I think prices are getting higher, and that's that.
Yeah, I agree with everything you just said.
Okay, do you want to move on to our next topic here?
Yeah, please.
So this is a new one I found on the internet. Thank you, Elon Musk, for inventing the internet or whatever. I don't know how this works, but Al Gore invented it.
That's right.
Elon Musk perfected it.
Elon came out with the CompuServe CD-ROMs, and then here we are, Starlinks.
Roger and I get self-conscious sometimes about how bad this podcast is.
I think it's self-awareness.
Yeah, there you go. That's what I meant to say. But Roger was just pointing out to me before he started, most everything's AI anymore anyways. So at least we're not that. Right?
Yet. I think Randy's working on it. He's trying to shop everything out.
I think Randy uses AI to put captions on our thing. Randy, do you go back afterwards and make sure that the captions are right and change? Because I figure with our accents,
there's no way. It's not that good.
Everything I see is always correct, and I'm like, how did AI get that? So okay, they did.
So
Randy fixed it.
Challenge.
Anyways, so we're trying not to make more AI slop out here. We're authentic slop.
Yeah, right. Authentic slop.
Okay. So that's what we're making. Anyway, so back to the thing I read on the internet. It was about, as everyone knows, another thing that comes along with the Strait of Hormuz being closed is fertilizers.
Oh, yes.
Are bad. They're high, expensive, much like wool.
Are they related somehow?
Yeah, I guess it's that Strait of Hormuz.
But I mean, in other ways, why is fertilizer moving through the Strait of Hormuz?
Yes, I guess.
It's petroleum products, right? It's all
okay.
They dig some out of the ground, other stuff, they Haber Bosch it up and make the things, and there you go.
I don't even know what you're saying, but that's fine because I don't know what this guy's saying either. So I'm
exactly. This is the point.
Okay. So complaining about fertilizer being expensive, which, side note, across the majority of the Corn Belt, like the big producing states.
The I states.
The big corn producing states. Most farmers had their fertilizer prices locked in before this conflict happened. So not as big a deal to them is what we're finding.
It's in the fringe market. It's in the outlying areas where they can easily switch crops.
Right. In the South and stuff where I'm met a lot, it's a huge problem because they don't usually book that much ahead. So it's
I bet they will after this year.
Yeah. So, anyways, interesting. Okay. So, my tweet here, my X post. Okay. Fertilizer Co. capitalized. This is much like
Colorado?
The grain mafia, probably.
Oh,
but the fertilizer version has a whole marketing team that studies and implements programs to devour weak farmers. So everyone's going against them. Farmers selling grain have 1,000 other things to do to avoid typical pricing traps and thus can't specialize as tightly. However, the farmer's real advantage, here we go. And here we go.
Okay. Well,
here's the farmer's real advantage. So we said all that. I don't know how much sense it makes, but we're going to boil it down here. Figuring out how to reduce the need for fertilizer. That's one advantage. And second advantage is figuring out how to sell at any place other than begging at the elevator pawn shop. So I've never heard a grain elevator referred to as a pawn shop before.
Yeah, it's first.
So
how does pawn shops work? How does one pawn an elevator?
I think so. I mean, in my mind, a pawn shop is where you go because you don't want anybody to ask questions. You know you're not going to get the best value, but you've stolen these goods. You've scrubbed the serial numbers off of these VCRs, and you just want $10 so you can, go buy a cheeseburger.
Or meth.
Or I didn't want to say that. It's a family podcast, but yes.
Meth is for families.
Right. I don't know about that. But anyways, my point is, this is what I think of when I think of it. So now I'm trying to boil it back down to a grain elevator. I think what it's trying to say is that if you're selling at a grain elevator, you're getting the worst value possible. Because you don't sell stuff to a pawn shop because you're going to get the top dollar, right? That's what's the show that I never watched that's become a meme? Best I Can Do.
Pawn Stars thing?
Best I Can Do is,
So let me ask you this. So tracking this analogy, if you will, what would be the antithesis of the elevator pawn shop? So I'm assuming it's a direct to an end user, but what would the end user be? A bank?
I don't know.
Would be Facebook Marketplace? Like, which direction are we going here? Is this the lending part? Is this the trading of goods? Are we bartering? What's happening here?
I mean, I guess the end user in a pawn shop scenario is the customers of the pawn shop come in to buy stuff.
I don't know. I
guess.
can't understand what's the alternative here. So
the alternative place to
we're
sell.
probably thinking too much about it. Is what's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure
we've
put
already
more
thought more than this guy has in his original post. So
yeah, but I feel like throwing around the word pawn shop is something that he's said before. Although I've never seen it said before. I've never seen an elevator compared to a pawn shop. So anyways, I just wanted to delve
his first point about farmers and fertilizer use is very valid. Use
less of the things that cost money.
I've looked into it.
Oh, okay.
All the state laws. I have not seen one state law that says farmers have to purchase fertilizer. They're not compelled to. They don't have to do this thing. They could just choose not to do it. So I agree with him on that.
You can just do things,
you can just not do things. Farmers, if you're listening, you don't have to use fertilizer. It's a choice.
For instance, some parts of the country don't use fertilizer because they use fertilize.
This is true.
So they don't even use fertilizer. You use fertilize.
Nouns and verbs. It's a great thing.
I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Give it a try. You can save all kinds of money doing that.
But okay, I just want to, when the grain elevators get slander, I feel like this was a slander to the grain elevator. And so I just wanted to, say it's not fair. It's not a fair
life's not
critique
fair, Jason,
of a grain elevator to call it a pawn shop where you're just going to get ripped off and get terrible value. That's not what happens. People go there because they can get better service. A lot of times, the elevators we deal with and talk to, are paying too much more often than not, more than they should.
No one wants to hear that, Jason.
I digress.
Well, honestly, that's what it comes down to. If you're say it's harvest time and you're having to ship out more than you can hold, you're probably paying too much.
Yeah.
If we're just looking at that part of it, I get the customer service and all the other stuff. It's a long-term relationship, but it's always a balance, right? It's not just cut and dry like some folks would assume. But there are things that elevators do that is not in their immediate best financial interest for the sake of a long-term relationship. Mm-hmm. If you're in an area that handles soft wheat, corn, beans, and you have the ability to fill up completely on soft wheat and it's a quality year, you're almost all the time, hands down, better off shutting the doors, locking in the big carries out to the next year and telling your fall customers, pound sand, go deliver your stuff elsewhere. The return to bin space is probably maximized just by filling up on wheat and holding it and selling it next spring. No one really does that because you got customers to take care of.
Right.
So you're turning and burning bushels that would be more valuable later on in a lot of scenarios to handle stuff, especially when it comes to beans. A lot of years,
wearing out your equipment, paying employees more hours, all sorts of stuff,
right?
Just so you can take
or
care
making
of
terrible
guys.
sales at harvest just to keep space going. So and I know there's a lot of people listening to this, especially in the Upper Plains this past year, that had to do just that with beans. Just to, if they could, just to get rid of them to keep their guys going and coming in. So
the wheat thing is also you're selling out $4 or $5 wheat to pay $10, $11 for beans,
Right,
and
right,
use
yeah.
up even more money, and
Yeah.
like you said, there's a lot of service that goes into
Yeah.
it for sure. So, anyways, I just wanted to push back a little counterpoint on the elevator slander. That's what we're here for. That's what we do.
I can get behind that.
Look out for that. So, and you just got back from Georgia. You don't want to talk anything about that.
It was pleasant.
There we go.
It was actually a degree cooler there than in Kansas City,
Well,
which
and
just reinforces my point that Kansas is and continues to be uninhabitable.
and we had tornadoes and stuff while you were
Right.
out there too. So.
And the wheat crop in central Kansas is burning up, and it's just. I had a guy tell me that short of the 2007 Easter freeze, does anybody in Kansas remembers that? Completely went home on Friday, Good Friday, and celebrated Easter, and came back Monday, and the wheat did not resurrect. It was completely smoked and terrible, and just terrible year. And we haven't had that kind of freeze. We haven't had a hailstorm or anything, but we've had a drought ongoing, and the wheat is that's manifest in the wheat crop, the hard wheat crop out there in a lot of places right now, heading out at 8 inches tall or whatnot, and just hasn't had any rain to soak in nitrogen. So it's challenging. Not that rain now couldn't help things, but it ain't going to make it vastly better. But there were some folks in the southeast experiencing the same with, it's more spotty, but the same with their soft red winter wheat. Sounds like the places it's doing good is much fewer than the places it's not.
Yeah. But there were some good things discussed at the Georgia meetings. It
As
was
always,
a very good
pleasant
meeting.
people.
But most of it is secret and not allowed to be talked about.
Yes, NDAs and whatnot.
So you just have to come to one of our meetings and check it out because it's obviously high quality stuff, but we can't talk about it. New markets for grains that we never even thought of.
That wasn't
before.
even that meeting.
Unbelievable. Well,
But it
yeah,
was
that's
very
true, right,
interesting, yeah.
Yeah,
It just reinforces the what you said earlier. You can just do things.
that's right. Just
Necessity is the mother of invention and high basis.
that's right. Georgia is the home of high basis. That's the place we always talk about, where it's like, yeah, I know it's bad here, but look at Georgia. It's $1.40 over. That's fun. Yes.
And anybody that sees that, you're welcome to load your truck up and drive it there and sell it. You can just
Get it.
show up at the border and it's like, I'm here for $1.40, and the guy at the welcome station will just give you a piece of paper that says $1.40 on it,
Yes.
or something like that. I think that's how delivery systems work.
Yeah. Just add it to whatever corn price you got on Calshi, and it all works out.
Just don't, get a flat tire and have to change out your drivers. This is what truckers tell me.
All right. So lastly here, I wanted to bring up. Yeah, Roger, we're get it down. So we had recently, I guess this podcast is coming out first week of May, second week of May 12th and 13th. We are doing Jeff Reardon, who's been on the show multiple times. People like his
Super guy.
episodes the best.
He's great.
They
Have you ever
listen
heard
to
his
them the
velvety
most.
voice?
Unbelievable.
He's fantastic.
He always has a lot of expertise in the accounting side, the finance side of the grain world. And we are doing a meeting. I'll be there in Bloomington, Illinois, home of the Illinois State Universities. Just one there.
The plural?
Yeah. But so we'll be doing a meeting there on basis, 2 days. Like I'll mainly doing basis day 1, and then day 2, we're going to bring in the mark-to-market accounting side, the financial ratios that go along with the grain world. Mr. White always had a good way of putting things into like big 30,000-foot view type perspective.
Yes.
There's been 3 phases of the grain business. So at the beginning, when he started the company over 50 years ago, it was the government storage program, and elevators collected grain and got checks from the government.
PIC
and
program, right?
That was it. That's how elevators made money. Then crossing over, into the 80s, 90s, late 80s, early 90s probably.
Yeah.
People got doing basis trading, learned how to hedge, hold grain for a while, and then sell it when logistics and cash dictated, and provide service to end users, but get paid for that via basis spreads, all that. And they still do that, of course. And we talk about it a lot, and we help people do it. But we went through that stage, and then about 20 years ago, we talked about 2008, bringing it all back.
Score.
About 2008, he said it transitioned to the money phase of the grain business. So not only do we have to do that, the basis trading, but we have to generate enough capital and manage the money side of it as much as we manage the grain.
Sure.
A lot of the cases. So that's where we live. So we have to not only do the basis trade, like that didn't stop, but before the financing of it and the accounting side of it, everything stayed, corn was about $2.50 all the time. Every once in a while it'd go to 3.5 or something. And it was just, things were pretty stable.
Yeah.
Prices moved a penny or two in a week sometimes.
Yeah, if that, yeah.
And it was just not a big thing. But now there's a lot more volatility in it. Banks are paying a lot closer attention. And so we have to be better managing our financial position as grain elevators so we can continue to do the basis, the spread thing, which is still a very good business to be in, very profitable business to be in. But because of that, we're in the phase 3, the money phase.
I saw that South Park episode of Phase 3. I know, exactly. That's where the profit is.
The profits come out on that side. Anyways, because of that, Jeff has put out a book, and Randy said if I hold it in front of my face, he can see it pretty good here.
Just describe to the people that can't see your face
so
now
since
what you're looking at.
Since you can see it from here, can you read
The Grain Elevator's Guide to Financial Ratios.
Yes. Okay. So anyways, he's put together this booklet.
Now, you've chosen to go the route of printing out the ebook, but it is an ebook.
Yes, because I didn't want the AI. Is AI an ebook? I don't know.
Probably different vowels.
But anyways, he goes through several of the ratios that banks pay attention to specific to the grain business, and then I guess targets for what those ratios should be, baselines for those, and there's, I don't know, at least a dozen or so different ones. Depending on your bank or your state grain department, they may lock into different ones of these more than others. But not only does it say what it is, what the target should be, he also has ways of how to improve these. If yours aren't where they should be, how do you improve them? Some of them it's self-explanatory. Make the numerator bigger than the denominator and stuff like that.
Those words mean, but I trust you. There's a good chance anyone listening to our voices right now at a grain elevator, their lender or maybe their accounting company, very likely their state grain regulating agency, has been trained by Jeff Reardon at some point.
Yeah.
He has, there's not many grain bankers out there that don't know Jeff Reardon. And if your guy doesn't, you should change that because Jeff is the go-to guy. He knows people. He helps them. He trains a lot of these institutions on how they should be helping their grain customers, when it comes to hedging, financing, an elevator and that kind of stuff. Same way with the accounting and things like that. So if you're hearing this and you'd like to know more, or you're thinking, where do I stand lending-wise? Am I getting the right rates? Does my accountant understand stuff? Or do I have huge swings month to month on my accounting? If you do, there's a good chance there's something missing there in your processes. So Jeff is the guy. Jeff is a guy that can help mediate and help people change those pains that they have, with their businesses. And he's done a great job at it for years now.
And we're known as the trainers in basis and spreads, and a lot of people claim to do that to varying extents. But this is a thing where we put a lot of effort in this because that's how we view the grain businesses. We're in this phase 3, the money phase of the grain business, and we have to manage that better. And Jeff's a great resource. So if you can, reach out to us about the Bloomington meeting. That's a week after this is released. If you're just now listening to it.
How do you get this ebook, Jason?
I'll tell you in just a second. So, but if you're not listening to this before this meeting has happened, which you're probably not, that's fine. You listen to it when you can listen to it. We still have resources like this. You can go to on our website and find this probably.
It's on CFO Insights, Jeff's blog about
ask the question you already knew the answer to.
Insights. So that's exactly where it lives.
So it's an ebook and it's short, but it's very to the point of all the, like I said, about a dozen or so ratios that you should be paying attention to. And great resource. And of course, reach out to us as always. We have lots of resources for mark-to-market accounting as well, just to make sure you're doing what the industry leaders are doing.
You got to maintain your inventory. You got to maintain your working capital. So there you go.
So please reach out. Sorry for the commercial here at the end, but I'm excited because I've been putting this stuff together.
Because you're helping
lately.
out with it, correct?
Yeah. So I'll be out there. We're gonna do another one in up in Ontario
In June.
June. Yeah. Okay. And then in July we'll be doing probably less focus on the accounting stuff, but a basis lab. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, out in St. Louis. That's in July.
Hopefully a suburb of St. Louis. That's what my fingers are crossed for.
So lots of opportunities coming up to reach out to us, learn a little bit more about what we do, and most of all, improve your business if you're in the grain business, grain world, or you have grain space of any type that you can trade.
Get a return on.
So again, sorry for the commercial. We don't normally do this, but I just wanted to throw that out there. All right. Well, Randy's waving at me that our time has expired.
Thank you, Randy.
So anyways, we'll catch you guys next time. As always, thanks for downloading and listening. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast and share it with folks you know in the business.
And if you'd like to reach out anytime about anything at all or have any show ideas, you can always find us on Twitter at The Elevators Cut. Follow us there, tweet at us, DM us, and we'll always respond. Till next time.
For Roger, I'm Jason.
And for Jason, I'm Roger.
Thanks for listening to The Elevators Cut.
Out.